Welcome to 5 Minutes with Andy. Once a month, Virtual Inc. CEO Andy Freed will be offering you tips, tricks, and insights into leadership, management, and business skills. In this episode, Andy welcomes Brooke Weldon, Senior Program Manager, and Shannon Taylor, Vice President of Client Services. Both guests give us tips on ROI for membership and how it can be measured. To tell you more, here's Andy Freed.
Welcome to the Attic today. I'm delighted to be joined today by two of my colleagues, Brooke Weldon and Shannon Taylor. Hello, ladies. Thanks for joining.
Hey, Andy.
So, Brooke and Shannon, I know you guys have been involved in membership for countless organizations. And one of the things I hear so much from organizations, they look at membership dues as that's just money you throw away, right? And, there's no return of investment on that. It's just, you join and you hope for the best. But, Brooke, I understand you've been doing some work on how companies can really measure what they get out of an organization. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, absolutely. We've developed a ROI Scorecard, which is given to our primary decision makers for corporate memberships to avoid having that decision maker second guess what kind of value and membership participation are they getting out of their partnership with the organization.
So Shannon, are you finding that this is the kind of thing that companies really look at and pay attention to? Is it making a difference out there?
It does make a difference. At the end of the day, what we want to do is lessen the sales cycle for our corporate members and for our staff. And if we can give them the pre-read on here's what you have to do to get the value out of that dollar that you're spending on membership dues, we're going to make every effort to convince you in the shortest time frames that we can and to make sure that you can take advantage of those benefits. And then what we'll do is we'll have those re-engagement calls every 3 months or so, see how you're doing. Where else can you take advantage of the offerings that the organization is providing? So the more we can get members in the door and create efficiencies and sales cycles, the better off I think we are at the end of the day.
So there are places where I know it's really easy to figure out how to keep score. Like, although Shannon, I know you play tennis, I've never really understood the tennis scoring of why it starts out, you're at 0 and then it goes to 15. But I know that you double fault a lot, and I know that that's not good as a statistic to keep track of. Brooke, how did you figure out in something like this how you keep score?
Well, there's a couple schools of thought we apply to the ROI Scorecard. One is the traditional monetary value, and that would be if you'd purchased something without your membership, what would you have paid, and what kind of discounts did you get along the way? The other is what we call for our non-monetary activities, such as leader development, serving on the board or a chapter committee. Those we apply a engagement score to. That engagement score we also make customizable so that for each organization that has a membership with the association, they can choose what is the primary reasons that they became a member of the association. So you apply more points to those items and some less points, some nice to have points for the other items that might be engaging in a online community forum or, for instance, a mentoring program or a self-assessment to determine where you are stacked up against the industry. Those things aren't necessarily something that you can apply a dollar value to, but certainly are part of the reason that you became a member and continue to stay a member.
So Shannon, as you've done this, has everyone wound up with a positive ROI, or what do you do when somebody, goes through it and it looks like
Good question,
heading in the wrong
Andy. It's
direction?
not always a positive ROI, and that's all the more reason we like to manage the scorecards on a proactive basis about every 3 months or so that we know where our corporate members are going to land in that ROI. And if we see that ROI is going to be in the negative, that's a great time for us to have that re-engagement call, talk about the benefits, offer up ways they can take advantage and utilize. Maybe it's a quick 15-minute call that helps that negative turn into a positive. So the lessons that we've learned is this isn't a once a year. This is before a corporate member joins, and this is throughout that time after they join so that we don't have to go through the sale all over again 1 year after they join.
Got it. So, Brooke, what do you recommend for an organization that's looking to explore setting something like this up for themselves?
Well, the ROI scorecard is all on data. So the first thing you have to assess is what does your database situation look like? Depending on how that current situation is, where everything is kept. You might have it across multiple platforms. So it can either be very easy or a pretty strenuous manual task, depending on where your data lives now. So I think the first step is really taking a look at your data and getting that in order, and ideally putting it into a single source.
Yep, makes sense. And Shannon, if I want to learn more about this, tell me, is there anything coming up, like for example, like a webinar or anything like that, where I can learn anything more about ROI scorecards?
Yep. So we will be having an interactive webinar in the coming weeks where Brooke is going to join. She's going to give some examples, some key takeaways that you can learn from her in all of the years that she's been doing this, what to watch out for, how to get a scorecard started. And we'd be happy to not only share that webinar, but interact with some folks after the webinar in a more one-on-one personalized session.
Got it. So excellent. Well, Brooke and Shannon, thanks so much for joining. It sounds like this is the difference between just asking folks to join and hoping for the best, and being able to make a real case for why somebody should be part of an organization and why should they renew. It sounds like a real difference maker for a lot of organizations. So
Absolutely.
congrats on coming up with it and the work that you're doing. Thanks so much for coming up to the attic today.
Thank you so much, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.